Hey guys, welcome back to the 4x2 Wagon Family channel, and today we're out here at the beautiful Discovery Park. We're going to launch our jet skis here in just a few minutes, but we're out here because we're having some issues with these 2018 Sea-Doo Spark. Now, we took these guys up to Shasta Lake a couple weeks ago and we ended up breaking it, so we want to make sure that we return the jet ski back to our friends better than we got it. So I'm going to show you guys when we get on the water what it's doing. So hope that this video will be helpful if you guys are having similar issue, that this solution will be helpful. And then once we get done on the water, we're going to take those jet skis back to the garage. We're going to tear it apart, fix it. Then we're going to come back to the water and see if our solution actually resolved the issue. So stick around. Here we go. Okay, so basically, let me go and start up for you guys. What it's doing is that when you give gas, it doesn't go anywhere. It wants to launch, then it kind of stops around 3 miles an hour, but this is saying it's going like 20 to 30 miles an hour. So let me just go and fire it up and show you. Okay. All right, so I'm gonna go hit the gas right now. Here we go, 1, 2, 3. So you guys see that? I give gas, you hear a lot of high rev. It's saying it's going 33 miles an hour, but we're not going anywhere. Let me do it again. Yep, so there you go. But it idles fine, it moves around just fine, slowly, at a slow speed. Let me do that one more time. Okay, so there you go, it's a high rev and not going anywhere. Okay, so now we're on the green jet ski and we're gonna see a very similar situation. Here we go, 3, 2, 1. Okay, and we're gonna go ahead and get it back on the trailer and head it back to the garage. All right, guys, so now that we're in the garage, and I went ahead and did one of the jet skis already because I wanted to take this apart and share with you what the issue is, and then I want to share with you the two different parts that I bought. One online, the other one I went down to the BRP, the dealer, and bought the part. So I want to share with you guys the difference if you guys want to spend extra money and go with the OE, or do you want to save a ton of money and just go with aftermarket. So I'll share that in just a little bit, but I just want to share what happened here. So again, this is the wear ring, and this is what got destroyed while we were out jet skiing. And basically what happened is that inside of this ring is the actual the propeller or the prop. Well, when rocks and debris gets injected in through this hole right here, it just kind of takes a wear, it wears down this wear ring quite a bit. And so after a while, when this gets out of round or gets chipped up a little bit, it starts, disintegrating or, eat itself away at some point. And that's when you're going to start feeling some performance loss when you're on the water. So this is what you got to replace to fix your, loss of performance and the issue. This here on Amazon is exact same part number as that. And I'll leave all the part number in the description down below, and the link to Amazon if you guys want to go get the aftermarket one. The edges on the grill on these little ribs here is nice and smooth, whereas the Amazon one is still rough, has a rough edge. Okay, but as far as like the diameter goes and everything else, it looks identical, so I don't see any issues using this, but we're going to find out. So I went ahead and installed the BRP ring on one of the jet skis right here, and now I'm going to install the Amazon one on the other jet ski, just so that you guys can, well, first to see if this actually does fit on there, and if it does, you'll know. So this is about $45 for the ring itself and the seal, so you're going to save a ton of money if you guys decide to go with the aftermarket, but we'll see if it's going to work or not. So before we get started, I'm going to bring the camera down to the jet ski that we've already fixed, and then I'm going to show you the other one that's broken. Okay, so this one is the one that's still broken, and as you guys can see, you can kind of make out the prop back there, and you can see sort of daylight. Well, there shouldn't be daylight first of all, so that wear ring really destroyed itself out in the lake. Now let's go over to the one that I just replaced, and you can see how everything is sealed and there's no daylight back there. So that's what we're going to do is basically replace that black ring in the very back of the jet ski. Okay, hope you guys can see that. It's kind of dark and I apologize for that. So I'm going to go ahead and pull out this whole back end here and show you guys how to do that and replace the ring. So let's get started. Okay, so there's basically only 3 bolts that you got to remove to pull the entire out drive out. You've got one here like around, here, this is 12 o'clock, one here at 11 o'clock, about 3 o'clock, and about 9 o'clock-ish. So these are 13 millimeter, I believe. Yes, these are 13 millimeter. And then there's one little hose right here. And that just takes a flat screwdriver, undo this hose clamp, pulls right out. And then you'll need to take a 10 millimeter and undo the steering. And then everything just will slide right out. So I'm gonna go ahead and start on that. So first I'm gonna start on one of these bolts right here. If you have an extra long extension, it's super helpful. Okay, there's one. This is the one at 12 o'clock or 11 o'clock. And what's nice about this project here is you can just keep your jet ski on a trailer. Makes it super easy. Now let me bring the camera around to the other side. Okay, and then here's the third bolt down here. Okay, so I got all 3 of those loosened up. I'm going to go ahead and loosen up my steering linkage, which is right here, and this is just a 10 millimeter, and all you need for here is a 10 millimeter, you know, like a wrench on top, and one on the bottom. Oops. Okay. And so before you start, you know, taking things apart, just kind of know how it all came out. There's a washer on the bolt, and then there's a nylon nut that goes behind it, and then you have the steering. This is nothing more than like a little Heim joint right here, and there's no service needed. You don't need to grease that. Okay, just put that off to the side. And I always like to put the nuts and put the nuts back on the bolt so I don't lose it. Okay, then I'm going to go through and loosen up the rest of the 3 bolts real quick. Sometimes you got to rig something up. Okay, whoops. All right, and put the hose clamp back on. Okay, all right guys, so we're ready to pull this sucker out. The steering's undone, the hose is off, and this whole thing should just slide. Oop. There you go, right out just like that. The whole out drive comes out in one piece. All right, so this guy's missing everything, the wear ring and the seal. So basically what you got to do is open up your seal, and there are 2 sides to the wear ring. There's one side that's got a pretty big taper on there, and the other side has a very small taper. Let me see if you guys can see that with a little lip right there. That's where this seal is going to go on that smaller taper side on that little lip. Okay. So one thing I want to bring to your attention here on this rubber seal, there's a taper side, then there's a flat side. You want the taper side to go on the outside of this wear ring. Okay, so that it's tapered this way. Does that make sense? And then this is the side that's going to go, that's going to flush up against the mounting bracket on your jet ski. So let me go ahead and slide this on real quick here. There's a little channel or a groove on the inside of this gasket. So once you kind of work it around, ouch, just cut myself right there. See that? Yikes. So that's the difference between this aftermarket one and the OE. all the edges on this Amazon aftermarket is very sharp and rough, whereas the BRP is very smooth. Okay, so there you go. And that's all there's to it. And then when you slide this on, there's little tabs right here. So just go ahead and put it on here. It doesn't really matter. Put it towards the top because I'm gonna show you how these two tabs, I don't know if you guys can see that, these two tabs line up once we get everything installed. So just get it in and we can move it around. Okay, so again, the rubber is gonna go on the outside of this out drive. Okay. Okay, just like that. There you go. Okay, so this thing sits on here not really good. You should be able to move the prop inside this wear ring, and you should hear a little bit of resistance, the blade touching the inside of the wear ring. So the tolerance on this is, well, pretty tight, and you don't want any slop in there whatsoever, and that's what gives you power when you hit the gas. When you have leaks in your wear ring, water will get into the side of here and will get inside the prop, and it's flowing in multiple directions. The water has to flow this way, so when you have leaks or you're missing this piece or you got whatever going on here, issues, it's going to cause lots of aeration inside this jet, and you're going to lose all kinds of power. Okay, so now we're ready to fit this out drive into the jet ski. There's a couple things you want to be mindful of here is, well, first and foremost, you want to make sure that this output shaft right here in the middle, okay, lines up, the teeth lines up with your out drive. So you may have to kind of fiddle far with it. You'll know when you get it, because if the teeth doesn't line up with here, you won't be able to push this out drive all the way back and sit flush against the mounting plate. Now, it might be a good idea at this point to put some grease on there. Let me do that real quick, get some grease. So I'm just gonna use this heavy duty waterproof grease I use on a lot of my off-road rigs. I just got this thing about greasing up your, these kind of things. It's not gonna hurt it. And if you keep your head off to the side of your output shaft, you can sort of line up that output shaft with that little, with your out drive, with the propeller. So just be patient. Okay, here we go. I think that's kind of in there pretty good. Okay, so I can already feel some resistance, and that's because, what I mean by that is it's not seating in there, as I was hoping. That's because the teeth on the output shaft isn't quite lined up. So what I gotta do is take this propeller and just turn it maybe just a little bit and give that a go. And you may have to do this a few times, so just be patient. Okay, so after struggling to get this out drive on with this wear ring, what I did was I pulled this thing off, and then here, let me just show you guys. So I just try and put this wear ring on here just to dry fit it, right? And it just doesn't fit quite nicely as the OE by Sea-Doo. There's a big gap back here on the back of the ring. It's kind of hard to see right now. But yeah, it's not cool. It's not cool at all, okay? Whereas the Sea-Doo, it fits in there really nice. There's no gap, and it sits in there beautifully. So unfortunately, that's really disappointing to know that the aftermarket does not work, even though it's the exact part number on the box and on the Amazon description as the BRP box. So, well, yeah. So Amazon version, no bueno. You're gonna need to go with the BRP Sea-Doo brand. Save yourself a lot of headache. Okay, let me go ahead and put the seal on the OE wear ring. And I can tell you right now, this seal just fits on this thing so much easier. You see that? So if you guys recall the earlier demonstration on the Amazon aftermarket one, it was really a struggle. I even cut my finger trying to get this thing on. So that just kind of went on like butter. So easy. Okay, let's go ahead and slap it on the out drive. Oh, even that went on super easy. Okay, oops. There we go. Yeah, that just went on so much better than the Amazon aftermarket brand. Okay. All right, so these two tabs right here, it's gonna go right on this upper bolt. And the key to getting this thing on again is lining up your output shaft with this right here. So you got to get the teeth lined up correctly. Otherwise, it's not going to fit on her smoothly. If you're fighting it, once you kind of push it back there, and if you're fighting this thing, that probably means that you don't have it on there. The teeth is not lined up. Okay, so you may have to do this 2, 3, 4 times to get it all lined up, and it's not a big deal. Beautiful. And you know when you got it in there is when all the bolts line up nicely. The mounting bolts is flush to the mounting bracket on a jet ski. Do a couple turns on one side. Come over here and do the other side. Now keep in mind, you still need to put Loctite on these things. So for right now, I'm just getting it lined up. And I'll come back and take it out again, one at a time, and put Loctite and then torque it down. Woo, it's hot today in this garage. Okay, so there you go. Everything fits in there really nice. And unfortunately, there's just no way to get your hand in there to make sure that the output shaft and the shaft is lined up correctly. But because otherwise you'll never be able to push this all the way in and get it flush. So I'm pretty confident that we got this thing. Okay. So now the 3 bolts are in. The only thing I gotta do now is put some Loctite on there. So I'm gonna go ahead and back out one of these at a time and put some thread locks on these. And make sure you start all of these with your hands. Okay, you just want to make sure you snug all 3 down before you torque it down. And then because these are only 13 millimeter nuts, I'm going to tighten it down. Okay, and then turn a quarter turn. I can't imagine these are very high torque anyways, maybe 35 foot-pounds, maybe 40. But like I said, I'll leave that in the description for you guys so you guys get the exact torque spec on these. Okay, and then second thing to do is get your steering put on. Hi, baby. You doing okay? Yeah. Okay, my baby's sick. All right, so again, this is just a little Heim joint. The bolt goes on there in your washer and your 10 millimeter nylon. Okay, the last thing I gotta do is put on this hose and we are rocking and rolling. All right guys, so that's all there's to it. And now all we gotta do is take it on the water and give it a test and see how it goes.